Right, now we're joined by Victoria Goodstein, a consultant from the Motor Neuron Disease Association of South Africa. Thank you for being with us. And he wanted to highlight this disease. I think he would be happy it's being highlighted today. He has been hailed for not bowing out of public life, basically, but doing that. And how effective was it to have Joos van der Westhuizen as a spokesperson, I guess?
I think the fact that he's world known was very important especially for motor neuron disease in South Africa, because coming from a research point of view, he could then include and develop fundraising for the association to help develop it.
And how did people respond to him? There had been scandals in his personal life, but he was very brave in coming out. You met him. How did people react to him in this very different form, because we saw him as a strong rugby player and then just watched a degeneration?
And I think for someone with motor neuron disease, it is very difficult because physically, you know, their body starts to take its toll. And him being able to empathize and to be real and to be with other patients was very, very valuable for everyone.
He took that ice bucket challenge.
Yes.
Is that working as well?
Yes, definitely. We raised a lot of money with the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah. Explain this disease. Let's just clarify. So it attacks the motor neurons, which are cells that control your voluntary actions, so affecting speech, even how you swallow.
Yes.
Just tell us more about motor neuron disease.
So motor neuron disease is an umbrella term. There are many different forms of it. The motor neurons that are effective then decide which type of form you have. Certain forms of motor neuron disease, the upper and the lower motor neurons are affected. Some are only just the upper motor neurons, and some progress as they go through. So depending on which of the motor neurons are affected depends on which part of your body is affected.
And his specific case, what did that look like? How many in South Africa would suffer from something like this?
So he had the ALS form of it, which is the most common form of motor neuron disease. We're not 100% sure on stats in our country because it's difficult to discern from public to private health care, but it is the most common form.
And for years he wasn't able to walk, bath, feed himself. It gets progressively worse.
Yes, it's completely degenerative, so it progresses over time.
There's no cure, and we're even talking about the cause. Just tell me about what we know about MND right now.
The difficulty is because we don't know the cause at the moment. It's very hard to obviously come up with a cure for it. The cause at the moment, it's not specified to anything in particular. People are talking about blunt traumas, environmental effects, sports injuries. There's a genetic component as well. So once we can pinpoint a cause, then a cure will be more readily available, we hope.
Okay, so that is the struggle. He suggested, I think a few years ago, that he felt it was linked to playing rugby. Tell me more about that, and could it be?
It could be from the sense that if it is trauma related, if there's a spinal injury that's traumatic, obviously playing rugby can be traumatic to your spinal cord or to your brain, and then the environmental effects of possibly things that are on the fields, but at the moment we can't say. But there are numerous sports members that are affected.
And what is the real fight? I understand medical aids weren't recognizing this as a dread disease. Has that changed? That was one of the things being highlighted.
Not at the moment. So at the moment, for insurance policies, dread disease is very difficult. A lot of people are there. Dread disease is getting rejected on a motor neuron disease diagnosis. They don't see it as a chronic medical condition yet, but it should be. Yeah,
sure.
So the medical aids are it's still a battle every day for people with medical aid, and obviously for those without medical aid, equally a significant battle.
He was diagnosed in 2011, I think, given 2 years. This was 6 years later. How extraordinary is that?
It's very difficult to say. The doctors will normally say between 1 and 5 years, depending on how far down you are once you're diagnosed, and then also how quickly it progresses. So different forms of it can progress faster than others.
Another very famous person with the MND is Professor Stephen Hawking, and he's survived for decades, so you don't really know, do you?
No. He may have one of the forms that progress much slower, and of course his access to medical care may be assisting him along better.
All right, in finality, so what's needed, do you think, is it about raising awareness? Is it about dealing with the medical aids? What was he fighting for, and what is the battle that should continue?
I think from your point of view, he was, the J9 Foundation in particular, about raising the funds to be able to research further. Because the more money we've got into research, the quicker we'll be able to find the cause and then the cure.
All right, thank you so much for your time
Pleasure.
this evening. Victoria Goodstein from the Motor Neuron Disease Association of South Africa.